Welcome. Behind these walls, brilliant machines are working together. They're using software for good, software to serve humans. Strange, yet undeniably brilliant.
We're back. Today marks 45 years since civil rights pioneer Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was shot and killed at the Lorraine Hotel or Motel in Memphis, Tennessee, back on April 4th, 1968. Take a look at this photo of Dr. King the day before his assassination. He was gunned down, by the way, on that same hotel balcony that very next day. I was down there. It's amazing to visit that room, in fact. The night of Dr. King's assassination, then presidential candidate Robert Kennedy broke the news, actually, to a mostly African-American crowd at the airport in Indianapolis, where he was campaigning for president. RFK pleaded at the time to try to deal with this horrible development.
I have some very sad news for all of you, and I think sad news for all of our fellow citizens and people who love peace all over the world. And that is that Martin Luther King was shot and was killed tonight in Memphis. For those of you who are black and are tempted to be filled with hatred and distrust of the injustice of such an act against all white people, I would only say that I can also feel in my own heart the same kind of feeling. I had a member of my family killed, but he was killed by a white man.
With me now is the son of Dr. King, Martin Luther King III, and civil rights activist and former ambassador to the UN, Andrew Young, who was with Dr. King when he was assassinated in Memphis. Thank you. Thank you very much, Martin, for coming on, and thank you, Ambassador Young. Thank you, everybody. I guess I'll start with a family member. And, Martin, you carry the legacy in the name of your dad, and how's this country doing? How can you imagine him looking down and seeing us today, and what does he feel and think about how we're doing?
Well, I think Dad would always characterize things positive, but he would say we have some real challenges. He would certainly be very, very pleased about the fact that we elected an African-American president, but he would be very concerned about the triple evils of poverty, racism, and militarism and violence that we have not eradicated yet. With 60 million almost people living in poverty today, 22 when he was alive, with militarism and militarism on the rise in terms of, we still spend more money than the next 10 nations. And then, of course, in our communities, we are killing more people than we ever have. And we can't even get a gun bill, it seems, at least an assault weapon ban in this nation. So I think there are real challenges, but he would find a way to make it positive.
You're right, though, Martin. Of course, you've seen these numbers. We just had a big fight with a guy on that tonight. 78% of African Americans in this country want to see tougher gun laws, stricter gun laws. Ambassador, thank you so much, Mr. Ambassador. And you've had such a wide experience in public life since with the Carter administration as mayor of Atlanta. You've been through it all. And how are we doing?
Well, I think we really are doing well. Now, I say that because we have, by and large, made racism illegal. And I disagree with Martin a little bit, because I remember 66 million people being killed in the Second World War. So 10,000 or less in Iraq is progress to me, not nirvana. But the thing we have to deal with is the economy and poverty. And we cannot deal with the poverty unless we look at a global economy. We have more money in tax havens almost than we have in circulation. And that's why we have deficits. Economist says $20 trillion tax haven. Forbes was saying from 21 to 35 trillion. Somehow we've got to get that money into circulation.
That's great thinking. I haven't thought about that power of that money.
That's the answer to poverty. And it's not just poverty, but it's national security. And let's put it on the Saudis for a minute. That instead of putting their money in hiding, let's help them run a little risk and invest in Egypt. The answer to Egypt's problems are not whoever's running it. It's the economy. The economy works for 40 million people, and you got 90 million. Nigeria's got 1 million college graduates a year with no jobs. That's trouble. And we've got to think, only America, and I mean all the foolishness with Korea and all of that kind of stuff that distracts us, the real problems are the problems of unemployed, intelligent youth who have access to your information and the technology that I don't even understand. And
I agree with you. I've seen that in the third world, and you go to Lagos and places like that with those huge populations with nothing to do. Let me go to Martin on this issue. I don't know your politics exactly, but I do think I've had a big standing argument with some Republicans. I think these 36 states that have been out there suppressing the vote, killing voting hours, reducing voting hours, lengthening the lines, getting rid of Sunday voting, souls to the polls. I think a lot of that's prejudicial. I think people have been trying to reduce the black vote.
Well, I would characterize it a different way. It's just one party trying to win and using tactics.
You're being benign. Yeah,
well,
okay.
You know, sure, we can characterize it as race. Everything is not race. However, that is certainly partially race. I just think that it's tragic in 2013 that the vote is even trying to be suppressed for anybody. Nobody says that people should not have an ID, but the fact that you've created new provisions, new kinds of IDs that cost money, and when people on fixed incomes and you say you got to pay $75 for a new ID, that's almost like a new poll tax. So, yes, this is wrong. It's got to be addressed. Congress may have to do something. And also the Supreme Court talking about eliminating Section 5 of the pre-clearance provision in the Voting Rights Act. These are very serious times.
You're a benign man. You're a generous man, Mark. You're saying they don't hate people because they're black. They hate them because they're Democrats. Ha! That's your pitch. That's a very nice way of putting it. Andrew Young, my question is about violence. This thing, the black community, is serious business. Victimhood, people getting killed, drive-bys, the whole works, the drug thing. It seems to me I've never seen such a divide. Black Americans want gun control.
Yeah, they do, and need gun control. And by and large, though, we need self-esteem. The kind of violence and insanity that black-on-black crime really has killed more people than the Ku Klux Klan did.
Thank you, Martin Luther King. Thank you for joining us, and thank you, Ambassador Andrew Young. We'll be right back after this.